Hello. Let's look at the midterm test that you all took together, except for the writing part, of course, because that is personal, but it's something that you will get once you come to the classroom. I have all your tests there with feedback as well. But all of the other questions we will look at here. First of all, let's start with, okay, one, reading. Read Mary's personal view of family life and choose true or false. Great, let's do that. It's difficult for me to imagine being alive without my family nearby. My family is central to my life and something I never take for granted. There is always someone I can count on in my family if I need help or advice. It might be my grandparents, my two younger brothers, my big sister, my mom, or my dad. In fact, I think the most important thing that I have learned from my family is that a family is made up of people who you can trust and who you can count on. Too often nowadays, you read in the papers about families where parents abuse their children, either verbally or physically. What these parents don't understand is that they are starting a vicious circle of hate. When parents abuse their children, they're teaching them that this is the normal way to behave when they bring up a family. They will probably then continue in the same way with their own children. I was lucky and I have learned differently because my family loves me and I love them. Maybe I should now tell you that my mom and dad are not my biological parents. I was adopted when I was about 6 months old. When some adopted children find out later on that they are not with their birth parents, they are shocked. Because of this, many adopted children can have psychological problems. I was never in that position because my adopted parents told me from a very early age that I was special. They said that they chose me ahead of lots of other babies because they thought I was the very best. As a result, to this day, I have never wanted to find my birth parents. Isn't that lovely? Okay, true or false after each question. So Mary thinks that her family plays a very important role in her life. Quite easy, right? It's hard to imagine being alive without my family. Yes, they play a large role in her life. Two, so true. Everybody in her family gives her help and advice if she needs it. Yes, I can count on my family, big sister, younger brothers, grandparents. Absolutely. She has learned not to trust people outside the family. Well, a family is made up of people you can trust and who you can count on. So you might think that, oh, then she does not trust people outside of her family. But the text doesn't say this. It says that she trusts her parents and her family, but it says nothing about like people outside the family. So it's false. She has not learned to distrust people outside the family. There are lots of cases in the media of parents who abuse their children. Let's take a look, shall we? Too often nowadays, you read in the papers about families where parents abuse their children. Too often. And it doesn't mean that it happens a lot, but every time it happens, it is one too many. So, yes, there are lots of cases. She thinks that many parents who treat their children badly think they are behaving normally. Yeah. Um, when parents abuse their children, they're teaching them that this is the normal way to behave when they bring up a family. And this is the vicious circle of hate that Mary is writing about. Mary was adopted when she was a year old. No. She was 6 months old, so half a year. She was shocked when she found out that her mom and dad were not her biological parents. They are shocked when they find out, but I was never in this position. So she was not shocked. Mary had psychological problems when she was young, but she's fine now. No, other people, other adopted children may have psychological problems, but not Mary. Her adopted parents said they chose her because they thought she was the best baby. Yep, she was the very best. I don't know how a baby can be best at anything, but sure. Like most adopted children, Mary wants to find her birth parents. Not true. I have never wanted to find my birth parents, is the last sentence. So, yeah. Number two is a little bit more difficult. Why is that? Well, it is because you have three options to choose from. You can select true, false, or not mentioned. Let's, And so it's about Olga and Ian having a conversation about vacation. How was your holiday then? You look pretty relaxed and suntanned. It was a bit mixed, really. Lots of good things and a few bad things. For example, even though the hotel was advertised as adults only, there were several families with small kids there and some families with noisy teenagers. That can't have been too big of a problem, surely. No, I suppose not. As you know, I've been I'd been there before, and this time I found the food was more varied and generally a lot better. That's a definite plus. Definite plus. And what was the entertainment like? It was very good. There was a show most evenings, and the nightclub had live music until midnight and a good DJ after that. Was your room okay? Yes, I had a room on the first floor with a balcony overlooking the swimming pool, and it was only a short walk to the beach. If I didn't want to sit by the pool or go to the beach, I relaxed in a quiet garden area. What was the service like? Room service was perfect, and the restaurant and bar staff were great. The bars were very efficient, and you never had to wait long for a drink. Overall, the staff were very helpful, and nothing was too much trouble. Will you go there again? Probably yes. Right? Nice conversation between Ian and Olga. Ian looks very tired after the flight home. Let's check. You look pretty relaxed and suntanned, so not tired. False. The holiday was perfect in every way. No, it was a bit mixed, really. False. His hotel said it was only for people over 18. Yes, true. Adults only. So there were teenagers there and kids. So yeah. There were some families with young children. Yes, small kids, young children. The key to understanding reading comprehension questions is that they will not use the same words. They will have like different vocabulary and synonyms to try to trick you. So small kids, young children. Yeah. The food was better than before. Yes. I've been here before, and this time for the food was more varied and generally a lot better. So yes, it's true. Ian enjoyed the entertainment. Did he? It was very good. So if he thought it was good, he must have enjoyed it. There was a show every evening. Every evening there was a show, was there? Let's see. There was a show most evenings. So false. Not every, but only most. The nightclub had live music and a DJ until midnight. Okay, here's the word to look for: until midnight, till midnight. No, they had live music until midnight and a good DJ after that. So after midnight, I had a DJ. So it is the preposition until that they're trying to fool us with. His room had a view of the swimming pool. Did it? Yes. He had a room on the first floor with a balcony overlooking the swimming pool, overlooking. So he stands over and looking down and is looking down. So overlooking the swimming pool. Yes. His room was not far from the sea. Nope. Only a short walk to the beach. True. So as you can see, there were no not mentioned, which is even trickier. Yep. That was reading. Let's move on to grammar. Choose A, B, or C. So in this case, we have options. His parents is are, and it is, okay, his parents, plural, are. Has to be are. His parents are very strict. Strict means harsh, follow rules, not very laid back and relaxed. Your mom is her early 40s. Your mom is a third person singular. So is, she is. Is your mom in her early 40s? Yes, I am the youngest child in my family. Always am for I. No, they, their own company. No, they not got, grammatically incorrect. No, they haven't their own company. That would be no, they have not their own company. Which would be it would work in Swedish in Swedish word order, but it does not work in English. Haven't got. No, they haven't got their own company. No, they have not got. You could also say they don't have. Haven't got, don't have, same thing. She is again third person singular. He, she, it is, does, has. She doesn't have. Number 6, no, we, building materials. No, we, okay, yeah. No, we don't sell because we are plural, we don't. Does is only for he, she, it, right? They live in the house in the town. They live in the oldest. De bor i det äldsta. Superlative, adjective. 8, have you known each other? Okay, how much have you known each other? Doesn't make any sense. How many? How many what? How long time have you known each other? Yes, how long have you known each other? A is correct. 9, is good about living in a small family. Why is the reason for something? Incorrect. How is the way you do something. How do you sleep? I sleep well. So that would be incorrect. What is a question about information? What is your name? What is good about living in a small family? Should be a question mark here for frågetecken. Okay. No, people easily find well-paid jobs. And all of them could be correct, in a certain situation. For example, if you disagree with someone and that person says, people can't find jobs. And then you said, no, people can find jobs. But it starts with a no, so it's negative. So can't is correct, A. These could be grammatically correct in the correct situation, but yeah, without those specific situations, they're not good options. No, people can't. No, people cannot. Starts negative, use a negative verb. Great. Number 4, fill in the gaps. Here you have to be creative because you will get no help. You'll get no options. Number 1, you at the sports club yesterday. Okay. And you can only choose one word, I think. You could fill it out with anything, but if you have one word, were you at the sports club yesterday? So are you at the sports club? That's the present tense, happens now. Were you means, in the past. And there is a yesterday, so it's in the past. Were you at the sports club yesterday? And, if you had many words to use, you could say, oh, were you playing? But no, were you at the sports club yesterday? I didn't see my name. I'm sure it wasn't on the list. I did not see my name. That's negative. I'm sure it wasn't on the list. I didn't see my name, so I'm sure it wasn't on the list. A lot of you answered, I'm sure it was on the list. This could be correct in a certain situation as well, but we don't have that context. So wasn't is correct. But I fully understand if you wrote was. I'm sure a better one would be, I'm sure it would be on the list. I'm sure it's supposed to be on the list, but it's not. So wasn't is correct. I didn't. I'm sure it wasn't. No, I didn't meet him at the park yesterday. So no, I didn't. It's the past tense. So did you meet him? Oh, something been wrong here. Let's get up a little bit. Did you meet him at the park yesterday? No, I did not. You don't to worry. Okay. We need a verb. We need a helping verb. You don't have to worry about that. It's not a problem. And you can also say you don't need to worry about that. Must is incorrect because must is a helping verb. Don't must. Kan inte måste. Doesn't work. Do you think you will like to work here? Do you think you will like to work here? It is a bit strange to say. Do you think you would like to work here is better? So would is correct. Why? Because would is a hypothetical situation. Will is very, it's about something you actually plan to do. So will is not correct, but I understand it. That it's like if you make a mistake, it doesn't mean that you're wrong, all out wrong. It means that you're learning. It means you test, what is right and wrong. And I understand you fully if you wrote or you answered will. In a certain situation, it would be all right, but would is better. People usually feel positive towards who smiles a lot. Okay. It would be tempting, frestande, lockande, would be tempting to say people who smile a lot, right? But people are plural. So if you have people, and you can use one word, a pronoun probably, that is a singular and not people. It would be someone who smiles a lot, or one who smiles a lot. The classroom was empty. Had told me the teacher was ill. Okay, so the teacher was ill. There were no students there. And the classroom was empty because nobody had told me. Ingen hade sagt det. Nobody had told me the teacher was ill. If someone told you he had told me the teacher was ill, then you wouldn't go to the classroom because you would know. She said that it was raining a lot in Wales. She said is the past tense, so is not correct, but was is. I couldn't hear, okay, something is positive, anything is negative or a question. So I couldn't hear anything at all from the back of the room. But you could also say, I couldn't hear him at all from the back of the room. I couldn't hear you at all from the back of the room. In a certain situation, I think anything is the correct answer. But some of you wrote you, him, her. Those are grammatically correct, but anything is the best because it makes sense in every situation. He told the police that he had done. It wasn't me. So he didn't do anything wrong. He had done nothing wrong. There are two ways of saying this. I have done nothing wrong. Sounds weird, but I have done nothing. I have done nothing wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. Both are okay. But in this case, it would be nothing. Yes, so just to let's move forward. Let's talk about it in the end. Grammar, okay, more basic grammar, and this time we have options again. Great. Last year, he, in the 11th grade, he was, yes, last year, past tense, cannot be is, cannot be were, he was. No, they, pleased with the result. No, they wasn't. No, they is plural. Pleased, tillfredsställda, nöjda. All right, so that would be past. So they were not pleased with the result. He wanted advice, but she, okay, he wanted advice, past tense, so it cannot be doesn't help, it should be didn't help. But she didn't help him. He wanted advice, but she didn't help him. Right? Because but is conjunction that is used for contradiction, contrast. Number 4, we read the rules and then we did the exercise. Next and finally, wouldn't really make sense to start a sentence with unless we have some kind of context here. So first we read the rules and then we did the exercise. They found the ring, the bed, under the bed. Yeah. The other two are absurd. She cycled, so she rode a bicycle. She bicycled. Some answered under, which you do this in Swedish. Just under 2 timmar cyklade jag genom Göteborg. Like you could say that under tiden, but it doesn't work in English. You cycle for 2 hours. I did it for 2 hours. I worked for 5 hours. So this is the preposition you use with this. Particle verbs, they are called partikelverb. When you have a verb and a preposition. In my class is very friendly. Okay. Is. They are also nice. They. Everybody. Everybody sounds like it's a plural, right? Everybody, allihopa. But it is actually treated, behandlat. It's actually treated like a singular. Because everybody is a group, one group, like one family. She always, so and everybody in my class is very friendly. They're all so nice. She always has something to say. She always has something to say. Hon har alltid något att säga. This is positive, so you cannot say anything, and everything doesn't make sense. She says that, number 9, she said that she to bed late. She said that she didn't go to bed late. Yeah, she said past tense, she didn't go past tense. That makes sense. Could you say she said that she doesn't go to bed late? Yes, you could. Because then it would be all about generally, I don't go to bed late. And he said that yesterday or something. So this could work, but it's only in a specific situation. So didn't go is the better option. He said that there nobody in the pub. What happens if you try A? He said that there wasn't nobody in the pub. Well, that means that there actually is someone in the pub. There wasn't nobody. Det var inte ingen. Then it has to be someone there. Correct answer is he said that there was nobody in the pub. Yep. It's just like this one. Nobody had told me. Nobody was there. And again, you can say this in 2 ways. There was nobody there. There wasn't anybody there. Finally, vocabulary. An antonym is the same as opposite. There are synonyms for words that have the same kind of meaning, kind of. Antonyms are the opposite. So fast, slow, for example. An antonym of polite means that you are very nice. It means that you are very formal, and you are not rude. Rude is the antonym of polite. Rude is when you maybe you speak rudely, you use curse words, you are not nice to people. A swear word is svordom, like saying, yeah. Fluent is that you are fluent in a language. I can speak fluent English, for example. Number two, a life story of a person written by someone else is a what? It's a story of a person written by someone else is a biography. An autobiography is when you write about your own life, and a report is a report. Rapport. The opposite of fiction is fact. Fiktion, fiction means it didn't happen. Story. Fact is something that, is true. Informative means it gives good information. It has good information. And right is, yes, right. The first language you'll learn as a baby is your mother. Your mother what? Your mother tongue. Modersmål, mother tongue. A synonym of unemployed. So you're unemployed. You are not employed would be jobless. Utan jobb. Jobless is it's not super used. I don't hear it a lot. I hear the word unemployed a lot more, but yeah, jobless means, lack a job. You don't have a job. Dependable is when people can depend on you. You are trustworthy and you can handle responsibility. Then you are dependable. You can always depend on him to do what he says he will do. He is very reliable. When you rely on someone, you can depend on someone. When you can depend on someone means that this person is responsible and you trust that person. You wouldn't give a task or a job to an unreliable person, because that person, you don't know what that person will do. He's chaotic. But someone who is reliable, is always there. Engaged means that you're focused on something. I am engaged in this conversation we're having right now. It's not really a conversation, but you know what I mean. One of the big of her job is free meals during the day, under dagen, during the day. And those would be perks. Perks are positive, benefits, fördelar. Subjects would be ämnen or subject, grammatical subjects, or goal, and goals are aims, things you want, mål. He can choose the times he works. His company has a system of hours. They have a system of what? Flexible hours. If you're creative, you're creative, you're good at coming up with ideas and new ways of doing things. And formal is the opposite of informal. Formal means that you follow the rules of something. He stayed up all night to write on. So we know it has to start with, the next word has to start with a vowel. So article is the only grammatical choice here. About marine biology, marine biology. Research is forskning, but you don't write a research, you write a research report or a research paper. He watches foreign films with subtitles. Method are, methods, how you do something, metoder, and facts are facts. Great, very good. So most of you actually got a passing grade. Some of you got a very good grade. But remember, this is a test. It does not say anything about, it doesn't. it's for you more than anyone else, so you can see how you're doing. And I've given you feedback, and you will get the paper back so you can look at everything in detail. But what the feedback I have given you, most of you I've told, this is, you're doing good. Everything is going great. Maybe try to work on some few things, but most of you're like, no problem. A test means that you test yourself. Where are you? If you get very few points, it means that you have to study more than you do. Your system isn't perfect yet. You need to study more or study smarter. And study smarter is, whatever you like. Maybe watching videos is much better for you than to just do the grammar exercises in new levels, for example. The first one seemed to be pretty easy. The second one was more difficult. When it came to grammar, number 3 and 5 were easier because you have options. Number 4, very few of you got even half of them right, because it is difficult. It is a difficult thing to fill in the gaps when you have no options, you don't know the context, or it is difficult. So that's okay. Vocabulary went fine for most of you. Writing, many of you wrote very well. Several others might need to work on it. How do you work on writing? Write anything. Moodle exercises, I would say, are very good practice for writing. But you can write whatever you want at home as well. For example, if you have, I'm not going to talk about this, a lot. Let's talk about this during class. But you have a notebook in your phone. You can write down stuff. You can write down what to do during the day, like shopping lists. Everything helps. But reading, of course, helps a lot too. Yeah. Let's talk about this when we see each other next week. Great job and have a wonderful day.